And we're live. Welcome to the second week of February on Humor, Grace, and Grief, also known as the Friday Grief Chat. I'm Jill.
I am Deb. And today I am inviting our listening audience and have a few stories to tell. How what's on your heart, first of all, in general? And number two, what how was your Valentine's Day? And wow, was it everything you'd hoped for and more?
Or less.
Or less. I'll go first. One,
Okay.
I know my name is Deborah Joy Hart. And it looks like I should love Valentine's because I have Joy Hart. Now, yes, Wait, let me do Taylor Swift. I don't look like Taylor Swift. Actually, she's a great role model
Oh,
for
she is.
kindness and smarts in the arts. Um, I it's a highly anxiety producing day. At least it always was growing up for many reasons. And so I have sort of shied away from it. And my husband knows this. And usually I'm giving him a Valentine's Day to get it over with in January, but I didn't have a chance. This one, I didn't even get him a card. He recycled a card that we have had. I wish I had it in front of me. And and he signed it Love Daryl, which meant he had to cross mine out from last year and his own name was crossed out from 2 years ago. And then I think I gave it to him the year before. Doesn't matter. He gave me the card, and all I could do was laugh and say, I didn't even get you one. So then I waited about an hour and I went up to him and I gave him the card. I said, "Oh, here's your card." Same card. He says, "You didn't even cross out my name." And I said, "Nope." And I just left it at that.
Oh, I love that.
It um try to keep a low profile on Valentine's Day. I had delivered Rice Krispie treats the day before to family, and so there was batches, four places we needed to go, and I took a picture of a Valentine's. I got the googly eye kind, and I posted it at night. Here, Facebook. Here, it's like I'm not into it. And on top of that, to add to stress, this probably happens to you. You know, when you like maybe get a windfall of money and then it gets taken away because you know, you get it and then this weird bill comes.
Uh-huh.
So my dentist, and I'm going to use my name and call out somebody in Wisconsin. My dentist called, my dentist office, the business office called and said, "You know how we've been saying uh you have insurance that will cover part of this?" And I said, "Yeah, but I've never gotten any money for the last 2 years." And they said, "Well, finally we found out what happened. There is a Deborah Hart in Wisconsin, and while all the numbers were correct, the checks were being sent to her." And she kept saying, I don't I don't have this dentist. Well, finally 2 years later, it got worked out. So I'll be getting checks, reimbursement checks from 2022.
Wow.
And then right after that, I realized, I'm going to Oregon and I have a 6-night stay, I booked it in the wrong city.
Ooh.
And I was only at first going to get a third back, but then they said you can. So then I wrote everybody and they said, no, we'll give you all your money back because it was far enough ahead. It wasn't like 24 hours ahead of time. And then, but wait, I'm not done. Then more stuff happened and more stuff happened. Adding is my putting out there that it's a high anxiety day attracting more anxiety? I don't know. So that was my Valentine's Day. I stayed low. I did go out. I think maybe not. I don't remember. I don't care. I was snurtling.
I love that word. That's my new word.
Tell our audience about snurtle.
Snurtling is when you want to stay under a blanket and not start the day right away. And it's a term from the 1600s. We have a word for blanket forting. Snurtles.
I love snurtling.
I'm going to get a Team Snurtles t-shirt or something. I think
oh,
that's
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that
every griever should be able to have blanket fort day. So now we're going to call it snurtling, the best way to grieve.
Exactly.
Uh-oh, and now Deb is choking.
So my usual.
You had quite the Valentine's Day. And all of the trauma. And, I was reading about people talking about Valentine's Day trauma. They were just offering it up on, Valentine's Day kind of posts and things. And somebody said, oh, there go the children. Do you remember when we were in high school and you could buy flowers from from student organizations and get them delivered? And so some people got a ton of flowers and some got none. And I thought, you know what? I do remember that. And I remember watching the cheerleaders get all the flowers. And I didn't wish them ill because I had friends who were cheerleaders, but there certainly was a definite who gets and who doesn't kind of a thing. And, and back in the day, gay and lesbian kids couldn't acknowledge relationships, so they definitely couldn't send flowers to one another.
That's right.
But it was just, I remember buying a flower to send to my younger sister when we were still on the same campus, so she would have a flower delivered and not be one of the ones sitting with nothing. But yeah, Valentine's Day is a completely made up holiday. And if you think about it, it's celebrating somebody being executed in a most horrific way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Why would we turn that into hearts and chocolates? What is that about?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. This is how we celebrate this martyr. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw that meme and I'm like, oh, please, everybody read this.
And Hallmark will never do that. Now they're going to next year have a whole bunch of creepy cards that have the real St. Valentine's on them. And it'll be like the creepy Valentine's card collection.
Yes.
Right?
I've actually seen it. Yeah.
It's just so wrong. And I personally did not want to see all the Valentine's stuff this year. And I'm not and never have been a huge, big Valentine's person. It's always felt a little artificial. But, things for the kids. Things for the wife.
Exactly.
Right? But my parents loved Valentine's Day. And we found Valentine's cards from every single year. And my grandparents used to send cards to them when they were, young pups. And then the cards from my one beloved auntie every single year.
Yeah.
So, there was that connection to this year. And I just felt like, no, I'm going to go buy some tomato seeds. And so I did. Yeah. I ordered all the tomato seeds and they're all arriving now and put some plants in and, good morning, Stephen.
Hello.
So it's not my favorite kind of a day. And Stacy and I looked at each other and went, are you doing anything? No, and I spend Wednesday nights at Project Food, and it was Wednesday this year, so
Right.
we did Valentine's for the
Right.
homeless, who definitely appreciated conversation candy hearts,
Yes. Oh,
right?
yeah.
But it was and it was a cold night, so it's kind of hard to
Mhm.
feel all warm and fuzzy because it was cold.
Right.
I did buy cards for Stacy and Carrie,
Uh-huh.
and then I forgot to take them out of my purse, which I'm known for. I probably have enough Valentine's cards to last the rest of my life hidden in this house. And Carrie found hers sitting on the bed, and she read it. It wasn't signed, and I said, "Okay, put it down. I'll give it to you next year too."
Yes. All for that. Yes.
Not even signed. It's just sitting there, right?
I said to
Because
Daryl,
yeah,
all of a sudden we're sitting on the couch and I like get really excited. And I said, guess what? And he goes, what? I go, I get to wake up tomorrow, have coffee, and it's not Valentine's Day. Woohoo! And he
and
just,
chocolate's on sale.
that's right. That's exactly what I said. Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
I
Just,
walked into our grocery store late last night after working with our second homeless program of the week, and the front of the grocery store felt like a funeral home. It had all the wilted flowers that nobody had purchased. And
mm-hmm,
I thought those
mm-hmm,
poor flowers were slain. You marked up the prices, right? My sister did a funeral on Monday. The prices for flowers were out
way up.
the way because you can't. If you have a funeral or a wedding Valentine's week, you're going to pay through the nose. Easter
Mm-hmm.
too.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right.
So it's not a. I just don't see the need to slay all those flowers when they could be planted and bloom for months on end. That's
You
just
know,
me.
I met a waitress yesterday, and so it was yesterday, and Valentine's Day was the day before. It was in the morning, and she goes, I told him not to spend $100 on roses. Who spends $100 on roses? We could use that for something else. And she goes, sure enough, I came home and there were $100 worth of roses. And, part of you goes, wow, you're worth being extravagant for. And then the other part of you goes, why?
They
And,
just die.
and, and yet there are some people that really wish they could have had,
Right.
$5 worth of a rose.
I
And,
do love receiving flowers. Don't get me
oh,
wrong.
yeah,
I do. But in the grand scheme of things, get me a plant. It'll flower and then it'll flower again and again and again. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I want my lei when I get off the plane in Hawaii. I do.
Do you know you get that? I've been to Hawaii twice and we didn't have those.
You have to pay for it in advance. You're paying for your own treat.
I did not know that.
Yes, if you and unless you fly Hawaiian Airlines in a certain class, in which case they give it to you when you're getting off the plane. But and they also have vending machines for them at the airport in Hawaii.
I never would have thought about buying a lei from a vending machine.
You
Nope.
know, it's a once in a
Nope.
lifetime opportunity on every single island.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
Because if
And
I'm gonna I want a lei because then I take it to my room, and then the room smells like Hawaiian flowers the whole week I'm there.
I did not know that, Jill.
Mm-hmm.
I
Give me my
wonder.
plumeria. I'm a happy girl.
Oh, you are. Well, Well, let me ask Steve. Steve, if you're still there.
Oh, he is. He said he's there with his Valentine Leslie, who is his sister-in-law.
Oh, hi, Leslie. And how was your Valentine's Day, Steve?
Right?
And as he's writing, um, the other question I want to say, my astrologer friend, of course, said this is an interesting week. I know every week is interesting to astrologers, but between the Super Bowl and
Valentine's and Ash Wednesday on the same day.
No, it's like I said to
That was
Daryl,
probably good for St. Valentine.
it was like crazy when. So I said to Daryl when one of the newscasters or somebody had, the ash on their forehead, and Daryl's looking because he forgot for just a second. I said, "That's just a poorly drawn Valentine's Day heart." And he's like, so that's why it keeps me around. Steve, I am glad you had an awesome Valentine's Day. It, like I said, it was, Super Bowl, there's a winner and a loser. The
Yep.
Super Bowl commercials were good, which is what I cared about. Although we just had our neighbors over and they happened to cook venison stew,
Yep.
chili, and I had veggies and she had dessert, and it was a great meal to share. And then all of us are just exhausted. So we're all laying on the couch. I mean, my neighbors too, right? And he says, "Do you know people are betting on Taylor Swift, what she was going to wear, how often she was seen, and all these bets for things." And I'm like, does anybody care about war anymore? Does anybody? I know we need a break, but I just some
Yeah.
things I
And
just
then we had a mass shooting at the celebration, and we're right back to being America, the place where people get mad and shoot at each other, and
wasn't
that's just devastating to me because you don't settle anything by shooting someone. Aaron Burr found that out, right? A long time ago. We could have settled it right then. Stop it. And here we are again, and it's more sadness, and also on Valentine's Day, and also on first day of Lent, and just I just wanted some center, and that is why I went out to the garden and dug in the dirt.
yes,
That is how I center myself. I just step away from all of it. Watch dog videos.
Yes.
Watch goat videos.
I know. Yeah.
Color.
I have been sort of, when I went to the art farm where some of my paintings are being shown, and there's other crafts and arts and stuff, and she said, "We need some of those wonderfully weird, they're boards that hang up, and I write little words on them, and I use body parts, this, that. I make the letters out of different things."
Yep.
And when I say body parts, they're Barbie body parts. And I think I need to do some of those. Those are great
You
to
need
do.
to be creative. Yep.
Being creative. The Rice Krispie treats I made were a little bit different. That helped me move through. You can do all sorts of things with Rice Krispie treats, as I've said this before, but this was I use more Rice Krispies to marshmallow ratio, right? Because I don't like them real sweet. But then I melt in a jelly roll pan, I patted it down really thin, and then melted chocolate, put that on there, and rolled it up really tight. And then
Rice Krispie rolls. Wow.
Yeah.
Rice Krispie rolls.
With chocolate in between. And then the kids really liked it. I cut some slices, and then I cut hearts out of that and sprinkled them with red sugar. So there could be the appropriate sugar.
Yes, sugar and mess ratio.
Those
Yes.
grandkids that needed it, or the parent.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. I every time it rolls around to Valentine's Day, I think about those who are trying to go card shopping and gift shopping, and the cards say,
Oh, I can't hear you, Jill. Jill. You shut you muted yourself. Oh, that's better. Raise up the volume.
every time I
Good.
when I go shopping out, because I went to Hallmark, and Jill, no sound. How about now? Steve,
It's
sound?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's saying no
Good
sound.
now.
That's okay. My computer's doing its own
You're
thing.
good.
You read the cards and they say, there's the ones to the best mom ever. There's the ones to you. The minute I met you, I knew you'd be the only spouse ever for me. Right? You can't use those if right. It leaves out so many groups of people. And even if there are ones for, I'm so glad you're my 15th spouse, we don't have enough of those, and we have too many of you're the only one, and right, we do have, okay, so you were a horrible mom, but I'm remembering on Valentine's Day, we the cards just don't fit real life for so many.
I did the best practical joke on my mom. And so I bought 2 of those cards that said, "Dear Mom, I know I'm your favorite." And I bought 2. So I sent one to my brother earlier in February. This was many years ago. And I sent one at Valentine's Day to Mom. And then she got the same one from my brother. And so she called me up. I mean, this was a reasonable Valentine's Day. Called me up. She goes, "You are not going to believe this. Your brother sent me the same card as you." And all I had to say, "Oh, really?" And then you heard, "Debbie, you did it again."
Last year, Stacy got my mom a t-shirt for Valentine's Day that said, I know you say you don't play favorites, but of all your daughters, you love your daughter-in-law the most.
That is funny.
Yep. Yeah. And now nobody can wear it.
Oh God, yes, you're right.
Right. I'm gonna have to send it to my sister, but she can't wear t-shirts because of religious stuff. So, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I need someone who has a daughter-in-law.
Oh my goodness. Well,
yeah. Did your mom love that card and love that?
She loved. Yes. She loved when she didn't love it at first, but then she learned to love the attention from a healthy practical joke.
Right.
I used to do this to my mom all the time. And I know I know my 2 other friends aren't watching this video. I don't know if they ever will, but I sent them both the same card. And it was something about pizza. I don't remember what the joke was, but I sent them to both. And I said, "You're my favorite foodie. Don't tell the other person." And I wrote that on both. And so one of them wrote back and said, "Oh, thank you. I won't tell." And now I'm telling. I am telling on our podcast, but she doesn't watch.
So that's what she's watching, right?
Right, yeah. Right. Not going to say. Someone.
And now we've got next made up holidays coming because we're in February. We have St. Patrick's Day, which is okay. We can be okay with the snakes falling off of Ireland.
Yeah.
And we have the High Holy Days or Easter or whatever else.
In March.
Right. That's coming. But then we have May and June.
Then what?
Then we have May and June.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day
Another,
and Father's Day.
yep. Oh, and Flag
And
Day. But
and there we go again because we have another Hallmark holiday.
2.
Yep.
I'm glad people are employed writing comics. I am glad people are, cards are hard. That was the source of my stress.
Right.
When I was not in kindergarten, but I think for sure by first grade, because if it didn't say what I exactly meant and you're giving it to people, I didn't just write names on stuff. I anguished over, should I say I love you to this boy that I had a crush on? Should I say you're my favorite when you're not? I mean, that was a source of stress. Home was a source of stress. Not giving the right stuff to parents was a source of stress. And then you eat all those cookies. And then I threw up in the hallway every single year for about 4 years through 4th grade.
Yep, because we have all those, and then we have kids who can't afford Valentine's. And you took when I was a kid, we took the file folders and made them into hearts and taped the sides, and everyone put their name on it. So everybody delivered cards, and then teachers had to start making rules that everyone had to get a card or nobody got a card. And
right.
So much stress.
It was
so much stress.
And will you get called? So we didn't hear anything because they don't do it from any grandchild or any adult child. Didn't hear nothing. And that's okay. I did what I felt I wanted to do.
Yeah, no, mine actually didn't check in. And that's okay. They're busy. Everyone who didn't check in has babies.
They all have kids. Yeah. They're pulled in 15 directions.
And my eldest grandson fell and hit his head at school that day. So they had their own trauma. And unless we're involved in it, we try not to create more by placing expectations.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's I do need to go to the store today. So I'm going to see what's on sale.
Yep. The Dove candies will be on sale.
How does it get any better than that?
Exactly right.
And the other things, those little heart things with the little messages, although
the conversation hearts,
the ones that are funny, I like to read. But to eat those things, it's like eating sidewalk chalk.
It's confection or sugar mixed with water.
It's horrible.
And colored. Yeah, no, they should not be edible. They're not edible. They're just not illegal to eat. They're not officially poison.
They are. They're food coloring and chalk with some water. Oh.
I'll bet if you got a big enough one, you could actually ride on the sidewalk with them. I see something for next year's Valentine's Day podcast coming up.
Oh my gosh.
How well do you sidewalk chalk?
Oh, yeah, I do very well. Thank you.
Right. It's a favorite for my kids. My grandkids, they do enjoy that. We have a bucket of them at all times.
I love it. You can do it except when it's raining. A lot of the year we can't do it here.
We do not have that issue.
No, you don't. You don't.
Although this year with El Nino, we do.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm grateful. And it's snowing where Deb is today.
And that
we're going to have rain here.
Yeah. Well, next week, I don't have a guest yet, but I may.
We have the lady who wrote the author who wrote the children's grief book.
Oh,
we need to reach out to. So I will reach out back to her and see if she's available.
Yeah, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've been listening to a podcast with Mike Rinder, who was one of the folks who got out of Scientology. And
Oh,
I'm hearing the grief that goes with folks who get out of cult-like environments. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe we should find someone who has had that experience and maybe religious trauma losses.
I have someone in mind for that. He would just have to do it during. Oh no, he's usually off on a Friday.
Let's reach out because that's something that lots of people have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be nice, especially as we're coming up to religious holidays. And I'm not dissing religion, but so that we can acknowledge the losses that come from those who were harmed by it or harmed by what was purported to be a religion.
And some are very mainstream.
Yes, they are.
And, one dear friend of mine, the realization that people who are gay are not allowed any kind of leadership position, even though unless
in many organizations. Mm-hmm.
In many religious organizations.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak for schools or, I'm sure that happens there too. But unless you commit yourself to a life of celibacy,
right,
you are not allowed.
A full member.
Exactly. And how cruel is that? So the loss of friendships when it finally dawns on you,
mm-hmm.
Because
I think we should reach out. If you want to reach out to your person, and
I will.
I'm going to do some reaching out too, because it's a theme that's come up frequently, and I in various places. And I think if we pull it out and give people a place to listen and put it up on the podcast so folks can hear it later, not in terms of dissing religion, but acknowledging the losses that come from religious trauma and some ideas for how to cope with it would be super helpful.
I got let go from my church, and
right. I wasn't allowed to be married to my first wife in our church, which is still my church and which now celebrates weddings and was the first one to celebrate weddings when they were legalized. But it took some time to get there.
That's right.
So let's talk about that.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. Everybody, have a good week. We will see you all later.
Here, my Taylor Swift heart.
And mine.
Here. And my glasses.
Oh, I don't think I have enough heart. There we go.
There we go.
Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you on next Friday. Bye.
Bye. Bye.